Hi there and welcome to part 12. So in this part we're going to add some rubble in the scene. Not that extreme as you can see behind me, but we want to remove this clean look and add some rubble to add more realism. So that's part 12 and let's fill this scene with trash.
And welcome to part number 12 of the factory course. In the previous lecture, we spent time on adding some of the bigger objects like the container, the IBC and the shelves. And we worked on the lighting. And what I'd like to do in the upcoming two parts is starting to add more objects and working from large to small and optimizing the scene a bit more. And this way we're working slowly to the final stage of this scene and making it look nice. And I'm trying to explain why I add specific objects, why I put them on some specific location, and that there is not just like and sort of AI generated randomly putting stuff everywhere, because everything makes sense. So we have to think about it. But first of all, I like to make a render, taking a look at it so we can continue moving forward. So I'm pressing F12. I'm pausing it, and as we have an image, we can take a look at it, and then we move forward. So here we have the render. So let's make it bigger. So you can see there's quite a lot of noise going on here. There are ways to fix that, but that's like in the final stage of the course. First, focus on the other things like optimizing the scene. So we have the render, and I like to add some lights in the behind the doors, because right now that's like darkness, and I just want to add some spotlights so it adds some depth. When we've added this, we move forward to other parts. So I like to switch to 4, so as soon as we make a new render, we can see the difference. That's kind of nice. So let's click on an area light. I prefer the first one. We're duplicating it, and I'm doing that with Shift D, not Alt D, because we want not affecting, if we want to change the value of this room, we don't want to affect all the other ones. So now it's a unique light, and I want to make this a bit smaller, larger, and we're moving this downward. So it's inside of this room. Keeping a value of 10 for now, and change the name, area large door. So we know, like, okay, this light is linked to the room behind the large door. We Shift D, duplicate it again, rotate it, and want to make it smaller. No need for like a big light over here. And we're putting it like here. And one more. I'm deleting this because I want to name this as well. And we name this small door. And duplicating it. Here we have it. Nice. That one is positioned as well. Cool. So we have some lights there. I'm not doing a new render. That's for later. If we go to rendering, we want to see number 3. Yeah. I was watching this pillar, and it's very clean. It's very straight. So it feels too smooth for a factory pillar. So I want to add some more detail on it, and maybe on the pillar behind that one as well. So we're not distracted by a too clean look or a perfect look. So we go back to the shading. I like to go to my camera view. Oh, camera view. We're selecting this pillar. We go to the material preview. We have to load all the textures. So we're just waiting and taking a look at the bottom. So this pillar, we're lucky. We go to UV editing, like so, and we have to select the texture. So it's concrete pillar paint, CPP albedo. So it's hard to see. So there is some damaged part. So maybe I'm going to make it a bit smaller, like so, and moving it so we can find it. we have to find the damage part. It's definitely not here, so maybe move it a bit more. Where is it? Look at that. So I'm SX scratching a bit, maybe it's a bit smaller. So I'm doing the tweakings in the material, in the UV editor, so it looks like this. So I want to have this broken part like over here. So that's like the most realistic way where pillars are breaking off because someone is bumping to it. So I'm trying to put logic in this scene. And I want to add the displacement. So we go to shading. We're duplicating one of the textures. Go to add, displacement, and a displacement. So we haven't added a displacement map yet, so let me explain. You put the color of your displacement map in the heap. Oh, right there. And of course, we need to change that. Displacement, open. Non-color. And it has a very low value of 0.01. So make that to 0.15. And it depends on every single displacement map. Some are stronger than others. We go to the Modify tab, we add a new one, and for this, we want to have Subdivision Surface. And don't forget to click Adaptive Subdivision. So it adds a smart way of calculating displacement. So objects that are close to the camera will be way more detailed than objects that are further away from the camera. So be aware, you click Adaptive Subdivision. So we will lower this value, I guess, pretty soon because I want to have some object feedback. And we have to go to Material tab and go to Settings. And displacement needs to be displacement only. Otherwise, it won't display the calculation or the displacement. So I also want to have some displacement on this pillar. So you can shift left click on this pillar, Control L, and copy your modifier. And they're now linked. So because these pillars are more further away in the scene, I don't want to add this because it's pretty intense to calculate. So far, so good. Let's go. If we go to rendering, we toggle to number 4. And go back to shading, solid, and we hit render. I will pause the video and do the review when it's back so we can find out if we have to add a stronger value of displacement or not. So we have a new render. And if we compare number 4 with number 3, you can see that like all the pillars changed in size a little bit. That's what the displacement is doing. But we can also see the damage right here, and it has some object deformation. So that's exactly what we want. And you can see the repetition on this damage as well. So I like to add something on this pillar so it's breaking the repetitive look. I've got some safety ceilings as a texture, so that's nice. So go to 5, and as soon as we make a new render, we can see it. So how that works is I like to add, let's go to props, new one, and call this safety ceiling, something like that, or wrap, or anything that fits. Add mesh, a cube. Let's put it right here, just dragging it so we have a visual. As Z, like this. And I like to do tap object mode. We're selecting the top face, we delete it, and that one as well. And we're going to add some edge lines. Like, I think the best way is to do that with a subdivision surface. Like so. It's really hard to see. Yeah. If you apply that, is it good? Yeah, that's not a way to do that. Yeah, it works when you do it like this. Oh, maybe we should do that. Yeah. And if you click apply, no. For some reason, that simply doesn't work. So what I like to do is adding edge lines and make squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on that side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5. Oh, you can see it on top. That's perfect. I don't have to just repeat myself. Look, so we have this object. I like to close this wireframe. There's no need for. And we're going to add a texture. New, add texture. And I want to have an image texture. Open. And we have to go to the texture folder. And where is the texture safety tape? And it looks like this. Open. And I like to select all the vertices, U, and do a cylindrical projection. You go to the UV editing and select the safety. There it is. We bring this in line like this, taking a look at it. Oh, we had to just import it. Let's import like all the textures. And we have some masking. We start using that one. And add displacement normal map, combining these inside. I was looking for the roughness, but then I realized that I'm not using a roughness for this one. And a mask, that will be the black and white. Non-color, that will go into the alpha. Material, so it looks kind of weird, so we have to do UV, SX. So that looks cool. So we have the safety tape. I like to put this inside this room and putting it on the pillar. Smaller, GY, SC, smaller. And it's just a rough GY. Okay, Control A, rotation and scale. And then we go to the modifier, add modifier. And we want shrink wrap. You go to deform and shrink wrap it. You click on this icon and click on the pillar. And it's now wrapping on top of the surface. You want it outside surface, and then just use the scaling a little bit. Object shade smooth, and there you have it. So it's now wrapped on the pillar, and I like to duplicate it, Shift D, and move this to the other pillar, GY, and then we're selecting the pillar again. And I like to just move this a little bit so it looks different. And at this point, we can just do a material preview. Oh, it's inside, so I'll use the offset a little bit. And see, I think it's too wide, so let's make this a little bit bigger. And we have the other one as well. Material, and we have to just change this. Displacement is doing weird stuff with the pillar. Make it smaller. So change that. So we have these safety tapes on the pillar. And yeah, so it just breaks the clean look of the pillar. That's why I created these. And let's go for a render. So I'm pressing, I want to have no roughness on it. So it's very reflective material. F12, and we'll pause it. And look at that, we have the safety ceiling or border, whatever, on the pillar. And yeah, it breaks the pillar look. So it's not so clean anymore. So that's quite a lot of work for a very small detail, but sometimes small details take a lot of work. We go to shading, and the next part is quite a big one. I want to add some rubble around the pillar. So we're still focusing on the pillar. So it's very small stuff. Would like to do that. Tape. Let's rename this to tape 2. Close this. And I'm clicking on props, file, append. And I'd like to go to my scene files, models. And there is this scatter one, rubble scrap. Click it. collection, rubble, and scrap. I want both of them append. So there we have it. We have rubble and we have scrap. So what's the difference? First, I like to select the whole rubble pile that's inside of the factory. I just want to select these and move them outside the factory. So I made a pile of some screws and electronic stuff. Let's go to material preview. These are very big objects, and I don't want to procedural scatter these on the floor. But for smaller parts, you can scatter these with a modifier around, like close to the container, IBC, and the shelves and the pillars. And I manually want to drop some of the objects on places where they fit. That's quite a lot of work, but it really makes sense, because if I scatter this all around, you will see hand gloves all over the place and these, and will break the illusion of a nice looking scene. All right, so we have this rubble. We check the scaling, that's right. We go to the factory, and what I like to do is left click on the factory, add modifier, you go to generate, and scatter on surface. So this is a new feature in the modify tab that allows you to scatter objects. So because this factory is one big mesh, it will scatter it all around the mesh. So what is it actually doing? It allows us to pick an object or a collection and scatter this like as an object all over the place. So the first thing I like to do is we're selecting what we want. That's collection, and we want to have rubble, not a scatter. So now we have the rubble everywhere on it. So it's putting it. And to define where we want to have this, I want to paint it on places where I want this as a vector, with vector paint. So what we could do is we're going to you have the distribution mask. If we select the dust, it will put it on the places where we've painted. That sounds like a good solution, but I simply don't want to do that because I want to control it even more. I don't want to have the rubble in all places where the dust is, or even smaller areas. But what it gives us is where we have the rubble right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to transform. We add align rotation. We pick this instance. So you have to click pick instance. So it's not putting the whole collection on every area. It's now picking randomly objects from that collection and scatter this on the ground. And I also clicked on align rotation, but because this room is red, so it's in fact an inverted mesh. So or we have to invert it again, or we click on align rotation to fix that. So I'm turning this off, face orientation. And let's put some focus on this, and then we're adding a different vector color attribute to control it a bit better. So let's continue. I'm talking a lot. I just want to, let's add more density. So we have more objects. And on the rotation, Control Z, we're not touching that. Randomize, that's the one. So we have to click on Z, just click that, and you can see it's now rotating. And randomize the scaling. So some parts are bigger than others. That kind of helps. And what else do we want to do? I think we even want more density like this. So that's kind of works. Okay, so I now want to have my specific color attribute for this. So I'm adding rubble like this. Add, then we go to the modifier and click rubble, so it will disappear. We go to the vertex paint, and now we can just align this closer to the pillar object, and we can increase the density a bit more, like this. And now we go to the material preview. Like we can see the rubble, like some of it. So you can now add more density if we want, but not adding more. Just not go too far with this. Vertex paint, and control paint some more on it. So same for other places. Let's say we want to have some over here. I don't want to put it in the middle. That's a weird place for dirt. We have some, you always find these screws close to corners. Some here. That's too much. Control Z. Oh. And some close to the wall. Oh, don't paint on the wall. That's like not good at all. So just giving some samples. You don't want to add too many. But we're doing well. Okay. So object mode. And you can now switch to, for example, to dust vertex paint. And you can just paint some dust here because we added some rubble. Or maybe you want to remove some. That's possible as well. And close to the container, we want to have some more dirt. Okay, so you kind of get the idea, I guess, what I want to achieve with adding the rubble. Okay, so what we've done is we added the modifier. We defined where we want to paint it. We added a collection, not just a simple object, but a collection. That's the rubble. We had to pick instance to not scatter the whole collection on every point, because if you do that, it looks like this. And we align the rotation, otherwise it's flipped. That's simply because this mesh is flipped. And we're working from the inside. Okay, so that's a very important thing. So now I just want to grab some objects like this piece of metal. I like to Shift D, duplicate that. And this is what takes most of the time. You're starting to just add randomly big objects. I'm getting a bit closer on the surface. GY. And you can see that this shelf is floating, so I like to just put this a bit downwards. You don't want to put this in like so. And then, for example, you have a glove. And maybe you wonder why for every single object there is just, you can scatter this. Yes, you can. You can scatter like large objects, but it will look weird, definitely. And if you have simply some small objects, and just doing 2 or 3, just to give you an idea, just put it here. And it's fun because it's really your creation, what makes it special. I learned this in medieval scene creation because I started to add barrels and chests everywhere because I thought that's how it looks medieval. But then I slowly removed it and just added gently with just smaller, bigger objects, just by hand. And with just a few objects, it will magically turn in a beautiful scene. Okay, so you got the idea. We will keep on doing this in the next part. We're not finished yet with this one, but you get the idea. What I like to do is just go to rendering, and we go to 6, shading, and we hit render, and looks how this rubble looks. We review it, and then we continue. So here we go for a new render, F12, and we'll pause it. So we have a new render, and I like to just scroll between the first one. Then we improve the pillars, number 5. You can see the damage as well. And number 6, we now also and we lowered the shelf. And you can see there is some rubble and some areas. It's very small, it's very gently, but don't underestimate the power of what we're just doing by scatter some object. And still there are a lot of clean places. We get there soon enough, but for now, slowly enough, we're making good progression. And we're not done yet. So we go to number 7 and go to props. I got a whole list of props. Let's add some more. Append. And we go previews, We go to objects, models, the whole list. We have the two palettes, T1, and I want to import the palettes. There we have them. Okay, I have to scale them to the right scale, and as soon as you watch this course, they will have the right scaling. We'll make them smaller so they will fit the shelf, something like this. And they have like a fixed size, 1.20 m. That's not right. Rotation and scale should be 1 meter for single ones. So 1.20 m on the X. Okay, it's bigger. Control A, rotation and scale. Yeah. So they're still a little bit too big. You can make them smaller, like this. And you're aligning this. And now we have another one. And putting it close to the other. Okay. And like so. There we have it. So these are photo scan palettes. They fit really nice in a scene like this. And you have another one. I like to put that one on top. A bit smaller. So you have to scale them all in once, not separately. But as soon as you import this, they will have the same size. You don't have to bother on this point. So later on, we will add some smaller objects, but this part is fully focusing on the larger parts. So we have these. The next one is adding the barrels. File, append, barrels, rusty barrels. And there we go. Put them outside. Pick the biggest one and put that one close to the pillar, like this. So nice location. Pressing point, you're centering this. Great. So then I want to have some tires close to the container. Click on props again, file, append, and it's called old tires. That one. And collection. I like to put them away out of the scene. Side view, rotate it. So what I like to do is we're putting these on top of each other, like so, a little bit randomly. And we pick one wheel, like the top one, and rotate it and putting it against it, like so. You have and you can make this any shape you like or prefer, and close to the container. So you maybe wonder why this location. So everything close to the camera makes a lot of sense. So if you put all the objects far away, you're spending a lot of time and you won't really see the effect, but everything close to the camera will immediately catch attention. So I want to just rotate it a bit more. And it's a logic place for like tires to be here. I'll lower it so now it's hitting the ground. These as well. There's no problem there interacting with the. I have to turn that on. With the screws, that's fine. So we have these. So we have a barrel, some pallets, and these tires. I also have some safety pawns. File, append. There they are. An object. Well, let's just import the collection. Okay. We're moving these outside. And you can drag and drop them inside of your press point, your centering. So on top of it, GY. I'm putting these close to the pillars, so when you're like driving with a forklift, you won't drive to it, you have like a sort of a safety barrier. I worked a lot in factories in my life, and this helps. And like close to the shelves, so the forklift driver won't drive, press point and you're inside. They won't drive or hit the shelf. I just put some of these close to the... Okay. Nice and shine. So far so good, and we have many more props, smaller ones, and that's for the next part. So what I'd like to do now is go for a new render, taking a look how it looks, reviewing it, and in the next part we're fully focusing on finalizing with smaller objects, with cans, with boxes, spreading some more barrels. So yeah, we get this more finalized look. So final render, press F12. I have to wait. And here we go. We'll pause it. And render is finished. So we came from number 3 and we ended up in this part with number 7. So small additions. So everything was like we started with adding lights in the background. Then we focused on the pillar, the bigger props like the barrels and the pallets. Of course, the rubble around this. This could be like a final step, but I just wanted to put this in this part to just finalize the ground a bit more with rubble. Some bigger scrap things like a hand glove and a piece of metal. And I will recommend just spread your scene with more of these big objects, but not put them everywhere on the ground, because in real life, when you walk, when you drive with a forklift, you don't want big objects there. They will immediately broomed away, so that's not realistic. However, you can scatter these on a lot of places. So this is what we have right now. There's still quite a lot of things we can do to improve. Also with lighting. So we've not finished with the lighting, but look at that. With safety ponds and the barrel catching some nice light, it starts to look like a final scene. We're almost there. So stay tuned. Now let's do some nice finalization in the next part. Thanks for watching and bye-bye.